A few weeks ago, a friend of mine in South Carolina asked me to provide some information about myself for an article in my old school's newspaper. The article was about students who'd left Academic Magnet High School and what they were up to now. I was sent a handful of questions including, how do you like Minnesota? How is your new school? Do you miss Academic Magnet? How does it compare? And so I began to respond. Minnesota's great, I wrote back. The summer was really busy, but was a lot of fun. But I'm excited to get back to school and hang out with the boys. I stopped and thought about whether or not I missed my old school. I then had to tell my old friend a white lie for the sake of his article. I told him I missed being at my old school. Truth be told, I didn't miss it one bit. This is not a slight against Academic Magnet. Rather, it's a testament to how much I love St. Thomas. But I couldn't just talk about STA in a newspaper article for another school. I couldn't talk about how much I love this place, how much fun I have here, and how much better it is than my old school. Honestly, the readers of a school newspaper in Charleston, South Carolina, couldn't care less about some Catholic military school now attended by a guy they used to know. Yet, to ignore St. Thomas Academy is to ignore my identity. In fact, St. Thomas has taken over my life, and in a little over 2 years, has fundamentally changed my identity. My identity in Minnesota lies entirely within these walls. Outside of the academy, I have no friends. I know very few people. And if it weren't for cadets, I would never leave my house. The first time my identity as a cadet began to form was the first day of football sophomore year. As I walked onto campus as a new student, I felt something that told me this place would not be a regular school. As it turns out, I was right. In the first practice, I lined up across a tight end, who I later learned was Tommy Odegaard. At the time, I was the new kid from the South, who always said yes sir, used y'all instead of you guys, and didn't know a single person. But that didn't stop Odie from talking trash. Realizing he'd been running his mouth to someone he didn't know, Odie came over and struck up a conversation with me. Even though he was mostly interested in the girls I'd known in South Carolina, Odie unknowingly exposed me to a key component of the identity of a cadet, the brotherhood. He didn't know me, but by virtue of me being a student at St. Thomas, he treated me like we'd been best friends our whole lives. Here at STA, we often talk about this brotherhood. Personally, I can say that it is a huge piece of my identity and has transformed me drastically. Before STA, I had only a few close friends, but now I have so many. If I get a call from a fellow cadet, my greeting is almost always, "What's up, brother?" And this, while it sounds sarcastic, is important. When we call each other brothers, we really mean it. We refer to each other this way because we're always together. We hang out in the court after formation, argue about petty things at the lunch table, or maybe even wake up at 5 in the morning to go fishing in Wisconsin. All of these things have taught me just how valuable it is to have meaningful relationships. Another key aspect of the identity of a cadet is a desire to compete. Here at STA, we want to be the best. We need to be the best. That's why we're so good at sports. That's why the smartest kids I've ever met go to STA. Sometimes we might get into it with each other, but when we do, it's out of our own desires to succeed. Whether that's Jason Samick and Luke Herzog wrestling for 5 minutes over what film to watch at a Herzog movie night, or an argument with Sam G about who was right in the English class debate, we compete with each other because we want to be the best. In fact, it's encouraged. Not only is it encouraged by faculty and staff, but we as cadets push each other to be the best. I know what it's like to attend a normal school. I know what it's like to not attend St. Thomas. And that has made me all the more grateful. It has helped me to realize my own identity, that is, as a man of St. Thomas Academy. Many people spend their whole lives trying to develop their own identities. For some, their identity lies within their line of work, a sport they play, or a hobby they like. However, as cadets, a huge part of our identities for the rest of our lives will be this school. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you, and God bless.